alarm of fire, North Division and Grosvenor. Engine 32, Engine 3, Engine 1, ladders 5 and 2, Rescue 1 and B43. Alarm of fire, North Division and Grosvenor. Engine 32, Engine 3, Engine 1, ladders 5 and 2, Rescue 1 and B43. Box 191, 2023 hours, Albert. Report of a ruptured large LP tank in a building.
Roger. 32 on location investigating.
32 on location investigates in the building in the corner. Ladder 2. We'll send you a second alarm.
There's some pumpers right in front of the place. The Chief too.
A second alarm, North Division and Grosvenor, engine 13, engine 21, engine 35, ladders 11 and 1, rescue 2, and P41 respond. Second alarm, North Division and Grosvenor, engine 13, engine 21, engine 35, ladders 11 and 1, rescue 2, and B41 respond. Box 191 at 2020, B43 come in.
Give us a quick alarm here. Send ambulances. The building go up. We have a lot of injured. Hurry up.
A third alarm, North Division and Grosvenor, engine 18, engine 25, engine 22, and ladder 6 respond. A third alarm, North Division and Grosvenor, engine 18, engine 25, engine 22, and ladder 6 respond. Box 191, 2029 hours, Albert.
Chief Supple's brother Harvey was my battalion chief. Chief
Yeah.
Supple was my division chief.
Yeah.
So I was very at home.
Yeah.
And
Jack, you were the division chief at that time?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went, and that year was the explosion I was working at.
Right.
And that was, that took the lives of 2 civilians and 5 Buffalo firefighters, and hurt a whole bunch of others, you know. And I was at 33 that night. They came in. There was a guy off duty upstairs in the attic. We had a little gym, half-ass gym set up, and he was working out. And the run went out, and Patty, of course, knew, oh yeah, I know that building. And actually, I even knew that building, because I had been riding with Harvey in the 3rd Battalion, and we went to a fire, I don't know if you remember this, across the street from where the explosion happened in a house, not a long time before, maybe 2-3 years before, that killed 2 people. Remember that?
Yeah.
Vaguely. So I knew, and I go, oh geez, you know what, I know that building too.
Yeah.
You know, if it's the one I'm thinking, you know,
Right.
because I wasn't sure, when they said North Division and Grosvenor, the other one was Twin Bakery Supply was right there too. So I wasn't sure which
one it
was, because they
Right.
said, well, it's a report of a large building on the corner. Well, that one was much bigger, but that wasn't little either.
No.
You know what I mean? It could have been either. And then the explosion occurred, and the thing I always tell people say, oh, did you hear it? And we never heard anything, but we had 2 screen doors with plastic on them in our kitchen at Engine 33,
Yeah.
and they opened and shut. They went,
Yeah.
Just like that.
like pressure.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Dave Marciniak, the younger one, Dave or Joe? Dave.
Dave, I think.
Yeah, Dave was upstairs working out. He runs down, he goes, man, I just saw some fireball. And that was before anything, and then the radio started.
Right.
We were on the 3rd alarm, we got dressed, we were going out the doors, they called it.
Yeah.
It was almost immediate.
I mean, I remember I happened to actually be at my sister's on, I think she lived on Auburn or maybe Richmond or something like that at the time. And, you know, I remember it like it was yesterday because, you know, that's almost, not quite North Buffalo, but it's, you know, top side of the city and so forth, quite a distance from where the explosion happened. And a picture frame or something fell off the wall. And, you know, I made the smart aleck remark, oh great, the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor again or something like that, you know. And then 15 minutes later, it's on the 11 o'clock news and, you know.
Yeah, well, they broke into the news.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
The hockey game, it ran underneath,
Yeah.
I guess. That's what I've been told.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tell us about your experience that night.
Well, we started down, it was Bob Grew, Patty, Walter Jones, and myself, and we started down Jefferson Avenue. One of the things I remember was I couldn't believe how many people were on. I mean, people were just emptying,
conversion.
you know,
Yeah.
out of homes and everything else.
Yeah.
The streets were just full. It was a slow ride.
Yeah.
We went down on Eagle Street, 1 block north, and we cut a hydrant, and we just brought 2 2.5s to a turret. We set a turret up on. We took the turret off the rig and set it up in a lot between the building and this huge church that had a big gouge out of it. That was just
I
starting to
remember
burn.
seeing those pictures. Yeah.
And we set our turret up there. Then we went forward and started digging. And I remember, I didn't know him at the time, but Donnie McFeely, who was captain of Truck 5, came by a little later, and we were underneath 32 digging.
Yeah.
It was very, 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 very difficult, sort of surreal. You know, the new fireman, it was bigger than, and there's a lot of little things that you take for granted today. Like, I wanted to call my wife, and there's no cell phones, you know, in 1983.
Right.
And on top of that, a lot of people don't realize, for blocks, there wasn't a phone working. You know where the housing projects are at the corner?
Yeah.
All the windows were out of that.
Wow.
Truck 5 and engine 32, which is a wide distance away, the windows were out of that. There was windows out of the Larkin building.
Wow.
I mean, it was way bigger an explosion than people realize.
Yeah.
And I remember too, like little snippets, like when you came down North Division from the east, you went under the railroad tracks. And on the other side of the railroad tracks, so towards like Emsley Street, which is a long way away, there were houses on fire. And I, to this day, have no idea who put those out. I mean, they were a long way away.
Wow.
You know, there was fires everywhere.
Wow.
You know, there was fires everywhere.
That had to have been, and like you say, you were what, 3-4 months on the job?
I was about 10 months on the job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 10 months on the job.
Yeah. And, but just trying to take that all in and
Chief Supple ran it with his brother critically injured.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Now, I actually attended the memorial service last year on December 27th, and that was the first time I had a chance to do that. And Don McFeely, you know, kind of walked everybody through, you know, what happened that night and so forth, and kind of standing in the exact same spot, I believe, that Harvey was standing in when he transmitted a lot of, you know, what they had and so on.
Yeah, he ran the fire for 10 minutes with a big stake in his neck and all kinds of injuries. I mean, pretty amazing. I mean,
now, were you on that night as well, Jeff?
Oh,
yeah. And what, I mean, did you, the initial call was only for was what,
they said a propane tank had bursted. That's the
Bursted.
term they used.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was no explosion or anything at that time.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, what did they send initially? Just a
they
PS?
sent a full assignment.
Oh, full assignment,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they would bring the division?
No,
No?
we didn't go, at that time we didn't
Oh.
go in the thing. And although it was only a few minutes later, I don't know what the time is anymore.
it was like 37 seconds that they were on location.
Yeah, when they,
Yeah.
and truck 2 pulled the second on it.
Right.
It
Yeah.
can't help. And then a few minutes later, while I was on my way then, and I heard Harvey on the radio, and he said that you wanted a second, and they said, you got a second, so if you give us a third and send all the ambulances that you can.
Right.
And so.
I mean, that had to be just absolute chaos because, one, you know, obviously you're worried about your own members, but it's...
The fire was going in 4 different directions,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, and for such a distance...
People in the houses and everything
Yeah.
else, yeah, there was, it's quite a thing.
There was remarkable stuff done.
Hmm?
There was remarkable work done by guys.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
No problem. All right, so we're talking about that night of December 27th, 1983.
That's correct.
Okay. So, And the explosion occurred 37 seconds after they arrived on location.
Yes.
And I know there was a story of actually lives were saved by one of the apparatus got hung up on a snowbank making a turn.
Ladder two.
Ladder two, I
They
remember
slid
Patty
into a
come-
snowbank.
Yeah.
And had to get, and while they were trying to get out of the snowbank, which didn't take long.
Yeah.
It was when the explosion happened.
Wow.
And they called in and they said the place blew up.
Wow.
And, that's the first I heard of it.
Yeah.
And with that, when they set the second out at the time, engine 13, which is where I was running out of behind City Hall,
Uh-huh.
they had were running out of the kitchen to get the rig, and the lieutenant hollered to me, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Yeah." You know,
Yeah.
And what it ended up, he wanted to know if I heard the explosion. I didn't hear the explosion.
Oh.
Oh, but they did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But again, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Larry Sullivan, who was the captain of Engine 1, it was his second last night in the department.
Oh my gosh.
And so they had a dinner over at the firehouse and invited me there, Elgin South Division. So I was over there for that. It was bitter cold out, and I left the car out in front of the firehouse on the deal. And when the thing was over, I went back and back in the house, and when I did, the windows of the rig steamed up completely. So I was inside there, wiping the inside of the windows in the car in the firehouse, and as a result, I guess that's why I didn't hear it.
Oh,
But
wow.
what the lieutenant meant, did I hear the explosion? No, I didn't, but I did hear
Sure.
the thing. And the building I was acquainted with, I was a firefighter at Ladder 2 for 5 years, and at the time that was a candle factory down
Oh,
there.
wow.
And we went there a few times, never had a fire there, but we went there a few times. I was acquainted with the building, but we all thought it was vacant, you know, we just hadn't seen
Yeah.
anything going on. It
Yeah.
just looked like it was
It
dead.
was an illegal radiator shop.
And,
Is that what it was? Yeah.
that's what-
Illegal radiator shop.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
the radiator, I guess Harrison probably was having labor troubles, and these guys were scabbing the job,
Oh my gosh.
and they came in with, well, they had a guy from Australia, I think it was running the high lift, and didn't know what he was doing, and there's another guy, and then the owners, and he was moving the tank, the propane, a large propane tank, very large, on a high lift, and they didn't have it secured, and it rolled off and landed and broke the valves on the top of the tank, and it was right at the top floor
Yeah.
at the elevator shaft.
Oh.
And of course, propane's heavy in there.
Right.
It went. And they ended up, they got
Perfect
out.
storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
They got out rapidly, and an odd thing at that time is that they had a phone in their car, which today everybody's got a phone, but then.
But in
they
'83.
didn't. Yeah.
Wow.
And they called it in, and they said that they were moving a propane tank, and it bursted is this term they used
Yeah.
on it too. And so they sent out a full assignment on the deal.
Wow.
But it was one of them deals, they didn't have the radio, it probably, most likely would have blown before we even got
Right.
on the scene.
Right.
And when they got on the scene, this is from talking to my brother, of course, over the thing, and there was nothing really visible.
Yeah.
And they had opened an overhead door, and the truck crew, Truck 5's crew,
Yeah.
got out and was waiting for orders. So they're just standing there leaning on their tools and
Right.
stuff. And the engine had pulled around the corner in front of the
Twin bakeries.
Twin
Yeah.
Bakery thing. And a couple of them were putting on masks to see what they wanted to do. And my brother came in at that time and went over to talk to the captain of Engine 32, and also the people came out of the thing. And he asked what happened, and they told him roughly that they were moving a tank, and it fell over and was pouring out of there, and
Yeah.
everything else. And he said, well, how big is the tank? And they said, about as big as your car.
Oh my gosh.
And with that was it. He said that he didn't hear a boom. I don't know if you ever heard that deal. It sounded like when an oven goes on, the whoosh.
Yeah.
That's all he heard. That was it. And when I got in there,
And how far away was he from the building when it exploded?
Oh,
not far.
And how did he survive?
Well, the big thing was that door being open,
Yeah.
and Truck 5's crew was there.
Yeah.
And it blew right out onto them.
Yeah.
It pretty well funneled
and
onto
all
them.
the guys that died also hit 32's rig, except for
Pretty much so.
Mike Austin never moved
No.
for whatever reason. He was right
Yep,
where
right.
it seemed like he was.
Yep.
Wow.
But I think that was effective. The other thing that I remember talking to Harvey in the hospital, and he told me, he goes, you know, when he got up, he goes, you could have put the fire out with a garden hose for about 15 seconds. And then it just went, boom. And I think it was just literally blew all the air away.
Yep.
And he goes, it was just like you turned and it went, and then you couldn't put it out with a fifth alarm.
Well,
But
it took time.
yeah, but I'm saying it was like,
Yeah.
there were strange things. is
Yeah.
all, you know.
We, again, it was mass confusion, to say
Yeah.
the least.
Oh, my
We didn't,
gosh.
they had taken, by the time I got there, well, in fact, I came down and I was gonna go down North Division Street, and a police car, the typical deal, they had pulled off of, it would be their Jefferson, and left the doors open. Looked like somebody with big floppy ears. So I couldn't get down the street, so I had to go around and I went down Eagle.
Oh, okay, that's how we
Came in that way, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out, I had to climb over piles and piles of bricks. It was like complete chaos. And the fire at that time was fairly low. It was all over the place, but it was
Yeah.
flaming all over and
Low,
spreading.
right.
And
Kind of like
catching
what you
the-
see in the movies.
Yeah, catching
Yeah.
the sides of the houses and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I knew that he had a third alarm in on the thing, so I
Yeah.
ended up by pulling a fourth and then a fifth. I figured we're going to need everything we can
Yeah.
get. So then after that, I still figured we haven't got enough. It was just going
Yeah.
too far. So I didn't know the situation in the city either, you know,
Right.
what was going on or anything else. So
Right. What else
I
was
asked
going
them if they could give me 2 more engines and 2 more trucks.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, I'm probably the only line chief, if you want to use that term, that went beyond the fifth alarm.
Right.
Yeah.
on this thing. And then I got a couple extra chiefs. But again, it was one of them deals. Freddie Langdon was the commissioner,
Yeah.
and our Al Duke was the deputy that was on duty. And their job, after we got started to find out what was happening,
Yeah.
was to find out who should have been there, where did they go, you know,
Right.
and stuff like that. We had no idea
Right.
on how many were out of the place.
Right.
So fortunately, I didn't have to get involved with that.
Yeah.
They took that. I just
Yeah.
had the firefighting, that's all.
Yeah.
But when I called the alarm off and I told my engine companies I went to lay in lines.
Yeah.
Figure everybody's gonna go
To try and
on
rescue.
rescue.
Right.
And nobody's gonna put this damn thing
Right.
out. You know.
Right. Fire still needs to go
Yeah,
out, right?
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's, it was about the initial orders, then it was a deal, well, the church that you guys
We-
had, Mike Angrisano, gave him that one. Take
Right.
that, and Sibi Di Maria.
Sure,
is,
First
was
Battalion.
on there. Yeah, he was the first on there, yeah. She was with me when we had the dinner at the fire.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
And so it was a mess. It was,
Where was First Battalion? At the
At
time?
Ellicott and
South
South
Division.
So, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So not far.
With truck two, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's amazing stuff. And
yeah.
like you said, you guys came in on the third alarm.
Right.
And how long after the initial call do you think that was?
Oh, it was,
Within a couple of minutes?
sure. The
Well,
third alarm,
the-
not us getting there,
Yeah,
but us
right.
being called.
Right.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
Harvey called the third.
Yeah,
So
Harvey
it was
called the third,
within,
yeah.
from the explosion, I don't know if it was 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
not.
about all, and then
Yeah.
it probably took you 5 minutes to get there, 7 minutes,
Yeah.
something
But
like that.
we got there and we went on, like I said, we went on Eagle, set the turret up on the church, and then we went digging, helping wherever we could.
Yeah.
You know, and there was, I remember just guys telling me, oh, so-and-so, he's fine. And they were not.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of.
Then I had
rumors
reports
going
of
on.
guys dead who were not dead. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
Right.
tough.
Right.
Yeah,
But typical stuff. And
one of the guys
Right.
that
Absolutely.
was killed at the fire, they said something about that he had his legs blown off or something like that, but he was alive yet, you know, well, that wasn't true either.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was, Well, it was like trying to find somebody underwater, but it was bricks, not water.
Yeah.
You had no idea where they were. Where do you start?
Right.
So
How tall was that building?
it was. There's a picture of it there. It's a
Yeah.
That's not a hole, right?
Huh?
That's a
right
lock, though, right?
there. Yeah. Right there, Mike, in the middle.
Oh.
The top thing, the top shelf.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, but it's locked.
Yeah. But 3 stories?
No, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 stories.
Four-story with
Heavy
4
timber.
Okay.
Yeah, 4-story heavy timber.
So you got that heavy timber, you got all the brick of 4 stories.
Oh,
And then a lot of other places not.
Yeah, the
Right.
interior, a lot of the interior
Right.
was apparently
Truck
wood
fire was
too.
blown across the
Just-
street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, the aerial was blown off it.
yeah.
It was unbelievable. And like accountability, I mean, anything you'd have would have been gone. Like 32, I remember coming down Eagle, and it was dark, of course. And I'm coming down Eagle, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, well, it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And it's because the roof was blown off the rig, but the red light was still going,
Yeah.
upside down. You know, I'm like, what am I looking at? You know,
Right,
until you walk
exactly.
up. Like the crosslays on the pumper
Yeah.
were on a building past Twin Bakery Supply, just blown out of the rig. So like if you had tags or anything else, they just would have been gone,
Yeah.
you know. And they ended up going to the firehouses to look in the journals. That's
Yeah.
how they figured out
Yeah,
who
that,
was
but again, you
Some
heard
of
the
those-
story of that.
Danny Bennett.
32 and Truck 5, they didn't have it in the book.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
jeez.
You know, it just, again,
Yeah.
the old one just said the perfect storm. You know?
Yeah.
Everything that could go wrong
Yeah.
basically did go wrong.
So it was
Yeah.
real difficult.
Yeah.
John Breyer had Harvey, and they were bandages his neck on the thing. And I went over to him, and all he kept on, I'm all right, you know. So I said, you gotta, in fact, the rescue took him to the hospital. And I said, you gotta get to the hospital. I'm okay. You're not okay. He said,
Right.
get out of here, get him out of here.
Yeah.
And then later on, when things settled down, shall we say,
Yeah.
I asked permission from Langdon to go over to the hospital and to see. 'Cause I didn't
Check out.
know.
Right.
So when I got over there, they told me what it was, and they said he'll make it. You know,
Yeah.
he's gonna live. But they
Did he
said-
go to the hospital with the thing still in
Oh
his
yeah,
neck?
yeah. They just bandaged over it.
Really?
They didn't try
Right.
to. It was right against the carotid artery,
Oh.
and plus he ended up with broken collarbone and
Yeah.
a zillion other thing. For a couple of years after, when you get a haircut, bits of glass would come out through the scalp.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
They were embedded.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
all through his body. He
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a jacket on, and
Yeah.
he said it didn't look terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever told you this, but he had a nylon jacket on.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
a chief,
Right.
just pulling up.
Right.
And he goes, it looked like whole.
Yeah.
He goes, but you'd hold it up to a light,
Yeah.
and it was all holes,
Yeah.
small holes.
Yeah.
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 And all through his body, like shrapnel
Yeah.
from a war,
Yeah.
he'd have, mortar and
Yeah.
brick and glass
Glass.
and everything come out of his body. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's crazy that he survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
he was lucky in that sense. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very tough night.
Yeah.
It was a tough night.
Yeah.
I think it was probably one of the department's finest moments, really.
Yeah.
But nobody knew at that stage if there's something else to blow up in there. Was there
Right.
more stuff? We didn't. Nobody knew. But there isn't a guy who hesitated on anything. You know,
Yeah.
They just went wherever they were sent, and if they weren't sent somewhere, they found something to do right away.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while. And the big thing, of course, was trying to figure out who was gone. Where are
Right.
they? Yeah.
Right.
They went to different hospitals, and everything else was mixed up.
Yeah.
People went and got dog catchers trucks. I mean, also civilians. There
Yeah.
was probably 70 civilians seriously injured.
Yeah, they were. Those houses were all occupied. There were tremendous number of, probably the most rescues that have been made in Buffalo.
by
Yeah.
far.
But nobody
Even knows about it.
knows about it. You couldn't
Couldn't
make
keep
any
track.
awards or anything
Right.
else for the thing. It was
Right.
just too much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the firefighters alone would be considered a mass casualty incident today.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
alone,
yeah.
Definitely.
Sure.
70 seriously injured.
Yeah, and probably another 100 and some injured.
Injured,
Yeah.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
two civilians lost their lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was a tough night.
And how long did it take to recover the members?
Oh,
And were
The
some recovered
first
then?
4 guys
Yeah,
were very 15 minutes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then Mike was probably 11 o'clock.
Mike was the last one, yeah.
Yeah.
Once
He
they-
had a
by that time, we
huge-
knew who was who,
Who you were
you know,
looking
and that
for,
sort of
right.
stuff. So at that time, I just considered it a big, like a trash fire in a sense.
Yeah.
Once
Covered a
everyone's
large
out.
area, we had
Right.
an awful lot of overhauling to do and everything
Right.
else. And as soon as, after things settled down, of course, it ended up, it snowed.
Yep.
It was bitter cold, the
Yeah.
wind is cold and everything else.
And
And
insult injury.
so as soon as we could get straightened out, we started to replace the companies
Yeah.
as much as we could. You know, of
Yeah.
course, they only had to cut it down because it was a large rubbish fire by
Yeah.
that time. Although they had the wall knocked down and everything else. But everybody was a little bit wacky, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, it was mind-boggling,
Right.
the whole thing.
Right. And I'm sure a lot of the guys were reluctant to leave, and
Yeah, yeah.
you know, just and it's real easy just to, you know, it's overwhelming for anyone. You know, it's real easy to get that deer in the headlights look on you real quick.
And Lou Spitzer, who was my relief in the morning, he came over about probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and told me to go back and warm up. So I went
Yeah.
back to the firehouse and warmed up, and in fact I had a can of soup in my locker and had a bowl of soup there. And
Yeah.
then I went back again.
Yeah.
But Lou was great. There was a number of guys that came in off duty,
Mm-hmm.
and at that time there was no overtime pay or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Right.
There
It wasn't
nothing.
about that.
It wasn't that at all. In fact, the ones that amazed me was Larry Kleiss and forgot who else. They went down and worked the hose tower,
Right, not
hanging up
exactly
with a very
glamorous.
unglamorous
Right.
job.
You know.
Yeah, but all that stuff.
Right.
But
needs
they
to be
just to
done.
help out.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the stuff that everybody misses.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
As
And
I
it's
say,
pretty amazing.
In my opinion,
Right.
it was probably the finest moment of the job of all the time I
Yeah.
was in. You know, which just amazed me the way the guys were. Just amazed me.
Yeah. Yeah. Certainly a defining moment for the department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see it. Very tragic and everything else,
Yeah.
but you can understand with 9/11 and stuff, of course, on a much greater scale, but you
Yeah.
can see how those guys were the same way. They
Right.
just did what they had to do.
Right.
They went for the fire.
Yeah. Well, and it's important to, you know, share and continue to share that story. And I know, like when I was at the memorial last December, there at the intersection of North Division Grosvenor, you know, in reality, certainly most of the folks who were there at the memorial were certainly not in the fire department when it happened.
No, that's right.
And many, if not most of them, weren't even born yet. So, because there were a lot of, you know,
New guys.
rookie firefighters. And,
Yes,
and
oh yeah,
so
there was a
forth.
lot of new men there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, and it's great. They have a very nice memorial there.
Yeah, it's been impromptu. You know, they
Yeah.
just got to do it on their own. And
Yeah.
At 25 years, we had a mass and then a thing
Yeah.
at the Adams
they had a
Park,
formal thing. You know.
and it was very
But
very nice.
the wives or widows did not want. They were willing to go with the 25-year thing, but they didn't want to keep
Right.
Yeah.
like every
Right.
year
Sure.
hash it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not forgetting, but it's
Yeah.
also
No.
not.
Dwelling on it.
Yes,
and
yeah,
so forth.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause it's
They have
still-
lives, and,
Yep.
and, you know.
Yeah, and still carry the pain.
Right.
Oh,
So
Yeah, so it's different from them. But it's great that.
I went
Yeah,
every
but-
year until last year when we moved.
Yeah.
The 27th December, and it's my wedding anniversary. I was at
Oh,
two
isn't it?
disasters.
That,
that night. Explosion. And
Yeah, two tragedies.
two tragedies. But no, but and my wife,
One for you, one for
yeah,
your wife.
God bless her. God bless her.
Yeah.
She, you know, for 26 years, every wedding
Yeah.
anniversary she spent at North Division in Groves,
Yeah.
and you know,